If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. From God to government. Hi, I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Adam and Eve ate the apple because they wanted to be God. That desire has not gone away, and recently we are seeing even more evidence of it. This podcast is a compilation of many movements from God to government. Worldview. First, from Christian worldview to a secular worldview. Now, the Christian worldview says God created a perfect world, fallen humans have messed it up, and we find redemption through Jesus Christ. Support for abortion provides ample evidence that many people don't believe humans are created by God. And I will cite many examples of the denial of the fallen nature in the next few minutes. And if you're not fallen, why would we need a Savior for redemption anyway? Here's another one. From fallen to not fallen. The defund the police movement was based in the assumption that humans are not fallen. They thought if you just left people alone, peace would break out. Well, that did not happen. It's been proven over and over again that if you reduce punishment, crime increases as it is increasing in America today. Here's another one. From serving God to being God. In the book, The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self by Carl Trueman, he explains why people believe they are a woman trapped in a man's body or the opposite. Okay, that supposition is objectively false, but the concept of expressive individualism has led folks to believe they can change their gender. Maybe it's the best evidence for the departure from the Christian worldview because people don't believe they were created by God, so they can create themselves. That's frightening. Economics. From supply side to demand side. Keynesians believe that during an economic downturn, the economy should be stimulated by shifting the demand curve out. Now, the measure of that effort is called the Phillips curve, and it has been shown to work in the short run, but not in the long run, because in the long run, you end up with employment returning to its natural rate, but with the added debt that was accumulated in an attempt to shift the demand curve. When shown this, John Maynard Keynes agreed and responded, "In the long run, we're all dead." Well, what a selfish thing to say. Because in about 20 years, I might be dead, but my Dallas Baptist University sophomores will be in the middle of their careers, struggling to pay off the debt our country has accumulated in an attempt to move this demand curve. I've told them many times that they will look back on the years from 2019 to 2023 and ask why the national debt moved from about 20 trillion to about 30 trillion in just 4 years. Here's another one, another movement. From free market capitalism to socialism. This is the most dangerous movement in economics. The title, Free Market Capitalism, reveals its intent in the title because it calls for free exchange of goods and services. Socialism is based in power, where producers and consumers are coerced by the government to exchange goods in a way that the government wants them to. Well, here's another one. From private investment to government crowding out investment. Now, to help my sophomores at Dallas Baptist University do well on their weekly quiz, I ask a kind of strange question. Should we smoke cigarettes? Well, the obvious answer is no. Well, so I explain, so we should nix cigs, I exclaim, which helps them remember the equation for gross domestic product on the quiz that week. Here is the equation. It's Y, which is GDP, equals consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports, nix cigs. Get it? Okay, now in the last GDP report, consumer spending and government spending were up. Investment was down. That means we have a good short-term economy, but a bad long-term economy because there's not enough investment being made. Governance. From Biden's sphere sovereignty to economic humanism. Now, Biden's sphere sovereignty is the title of my podcast number 111. I caught him admitting that government could not solve some specific problem, so I took the opportunity to make it the title of a podcast. Economic humanism is the title of my podcast number 21, which explains how humans think they can do just about anything. After eating the apple, Adam and Eve found it didn't work that way. Here's another one, from the U.S. Revolution to the French Revolution. In his book, Last Call for Liberty, Os Guinness explains the difference in the U.S. Revolution, which defended religious freedom, and the French Revolution, which deposed religion. You're welcome to notice which was more sustainable and more successful. Another good writer, Yuval Levin, dug deeper into the philosophical underpinnings of those two revolutions in his very good book titled The Great Debate. The divine to humanism. Well, our first subtopic here is from humility to hubris. Now, before Netflix produced the TV series titled The Crown, I didn't care at all about the British royalty. Matter of fact, I think it's rather interesting that one of the most sophisticated and developed countries in the world has a king and queen. That's a subject for another podcast. The reason Ginger and I enjoy the program, The Crown, is because the writing is so good. During the first 2 seasons, they have the queen say quite often, quote, "Sometimes the most difficult thing to do is nothing," end quote. Now that's very good advice, but only if you believe there's a God who guards and guides. If you don't believe in an active God, then humans would never accept that advice. That's why currently we are hearing the ridiculous humanist statement from climate activists, something like, "I can change the weather." That's why when I hear those chicken littles proclaiming that the sky is falling, I think about Toto pulling back the curtain and revealing the wizard in the movie The Wizard of Oz. Religion, from admired to dangerous. Jim Dennison is about the smartest guy I know in the Christian culture space. I write a 1,500-word podcast once a week. He writes the same amount 5 days a week. He makes the observation that the public perception of Christianity has gone from admired to tolerated to dangerous. How about this one? From Christmas as Christ's birth to a winter celebration. Yeah, we have many of these examples in our own communities. I heard this one from reporter Laura Logan at the CEO Summit at Liberty University recently. She told about being with a Catholic priest in Paris who asked her to look out over the city and observe what was missing. It was December, and there were no Christmas lights. Now, some of my friends complain about the commercial Christmas push starting too early. Yet, while I know what they mean, I actually have the view that you can't start the celebration of Christ's birth too early. For me, I know that's not what the stores are doing, but they can't stop me from celebrating Christ's birth as early as October. Now, turning this big ship around. When I appeared on Dennis Prager's Fireside Chat, his last question was about whether I was an optimist or a pessimist. I said I'm known as the Christian economist. The economist in me is a pessimist, but the Christian in me is an optimist. That's because even though we've been in economic messes like this before, God somehow seems to rescue us. While we shouldn't get in trouble just because God will save us, we are in trouble now. And I believe that even though humans continue to express their fallen nature, God has never changed. In a fast-changing environment, it's good to hold on to something that does not change. I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian economist. Fear God, tell the truth, earn a profit. See you next time. For more information, please visit us online at davearnott.com. If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them online or in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.